Imagine being trapped, not just in a relationship, but in a world where the people who are supposed to love you the most, your own family, refuse to see your pain. They don't believe you when you talk about the abuse. They just see you as a problem, a troublemaker. This was her reality every single day. Her family, eager to wash their hands of any connection to her and her drama, decided to sell a piece of property they all co-owned. It was a beautiful, sprawling piece of land, but to them it was just a quick payday. They wanted to sell it for pennies on the dollar just to be done with it. They offered her a tiny fraction, a pittance, just to sign her name and disappear. But in that moment, something inside her snapped. It wasn't the sound of breaking, but the sound of something forging itself into steel. For years, she had been told she was worthless. She had no money to her name. Her credit was shot, and her confidence was shattered into a million pieces. She had absolutely nothing, except for an idea. A wild, audacious, seemingly impossible idea. She looked at that land and she didn't see a quick, cheap sale. She saw potential. She saw a future. Her future. She refused their offer. The family was furious. "Who do you think you are?" they sneered. But she stood firm. She told them, "I'm not just signing it over. I'm buying you out." The laughter was deafening. Her with no money, no credit, and no one in her corner. Buy them out? It was a joke. But she wasn't laughing. She spent every waking hour in the local library, not because it was quiet, but because the internet was free. She devoured everything she could about real estate development, zoning laws, and subdivision planning. She learned about infrastructure costs, building permits, and market analysis. She drew up blueprints by hand, her fingers stained with ink and her mind racing with calculations. She ran the numbers again and again and again until they made sense. Then came the hard part. She had to convince people to believe in her, something her own family had never done. She started calling contractors, her voice shaking at first but growing stronger with every call. She laid out her vision, her meticulously crafted plans, her profit projections. Some hung up, some laughed, just like her family did. But a few listened. They heard the fire in her voice. They saw the undeniable logic in her numbers. She put together a proposal that was bulletproof. A plan to turn this forgotten piece of land into a $33 million subdivision. She walked into the bank, not as the broken woman her family saw, but as a CEO of a future enterprise. She presented her project, her contractors, her projected profits. She wasn't just asking for a loan to build. She was asking for a loan to rebuild her life. She needed the project funded, but she also needed $300,000 for herself. A lifeline to escape her abusive situation and start fresh. The tension in that bank office was thick enough to cut with a knife. Her entire future, her very survival, hung on their decision. She had built the plans from scratch. She had run every number. She had priced it all out and found a project manager willing to take a chance. Now the final question remained. Would they see what she saw? Would they bet on the woman that nobody, not even her own blood, believed in? Stay tuned for part 2 to find out if she secures the loan and changes her life forever.